September 15th deadline. This slide is a list of the things that we consider when we're preparing our budget for the year. The state did award a 2% cost of living raise for all full-time positions, excluding supplements. We used all of our known state and federal allocations. We used input from state and local officials, school principals, coordinators, and department heads. We used departmental budgets and local school budgets. We considered staffing needs at each school during unit meetings. This budget reflects the first year of a 5-year capital plan, and we had to consider the fact that fiscal year 24 was the final year of ESSER funding. This is our B1 budget document. This is the budget that we're required to submit to the board, to the state. This is the document that the board will approve and we will submit. It's a broad view of our budget, and the first thing we're going to look at are the amounts at the bottom that we expect to begin the fiscal year with. We expect to have approximately $13 million in the general fund to begin the fiscal year. This number is especially high this year, you'll see from past years. This is because we have a few things in our general fund we received already in 2004 but won't be expended until 2025. That's the $4 million Governor's K-12 capital grant, approximately $1 million of A&T funds for buses that we currently have on order that haven't been delivered, and the $2.9 million for the A&T funds that we've received.
Before you go any further, how much is the amount of the K-12 grant?
$4 million.
And that's in our general fund. And then when I spoke with you previously, it had been there since January.
We did receive it in January.
Okay. So I know there was concern at the last meeting, but that was, I think, it was just titled differently. So I just wanted to make that clear. The $13 million we have in the bank,
includes the $4 million.
Yes.
Yes, that's why it's kind of high. Usually we have around $6 million, but right now we have $13 million sitting there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This slide also shows the breakdown of the categories in the general fund. The main items we have are the $3.76 million in the general fund and the $2.25 million in the sales tax, the 2nd cent sales tax that we have. This slide shows what we should start with in the child nutrition program and our local school public funds. This is the amount that we'll start out with in our debt service funds. We estimate that we'll begin the year with approximately $3.3 million. This is a breakdown of the funds that we use to pay various debts that become due during the year. For capital projects, we expect to have around $568,000 left at the end of this year. We estimate $432,000 will be left in our local school non-public funds. These funds are the fundraisers, donations, dues, and fees that the schools collect from clubs and things. The next thing that we will look at is what revenue we expect to receive for the year. In the general fund, we expect to receive currently around $33 million this year in revenue. You'll also see the special revenue fund, which is CMP and federal funds, the debt service funds, which are the funds we use to pay debts, and the capital project and non-public school funds.
The debt service, the sales tax, is that the same as the 2 cent or separate?
Some of the money from the debt service holds all the money, so any money that we put in there for debt service, that could come out of the regular first part of the sales tax or the second part. Okay. The fleet renewal goes in there. That's just where we pay out of debt, all the debt. These are the revenues we expect to receive by source. So we expect to receive around $39 million altogether. As you can see, the difference in the federal funds is going to be due to the cessation of the ESSER funds. So we can see about a $3 million less in the federal revenues this year. These show how much in local revenue we expect to receive. This includes the county sales tax, all of our land taxes. The Medicaid administration is a big one, the indirect costs, and all the other things that we get.
Are we, I apologize, but are we not able to live stream right now? I got a notification
Are you live
that it's down.
No, it's up, isn't it?
It's up for me.
Okay, just checking.
The thing in the other revenues will include like the manufactured home registration, business privilege tax, health and school tax, and the forestry money that we get. This is a graphical representation of our total budgeted revenues. As you see, we get most of our money from state and federal revenues. Local revenues make up about 21%, and the other make up about 3% of our revenues. These are the revenues that we expect to our general fund. We get around 80% of our revenues from state, and then the other 20% come from federal and local funds. This is the LEA allocation we got from the state of our foundation funds that we get to pay teachers, our student materials, our technology, our library enhancement, professional development. As you can see, everything is a little bit higher. The ones highlighted in yellow are the ones that were reduced. We got less money in technology, library enhancement, professional development because our ADM was lower this year. We did not receive the student growth money this year because our ADM was lower. And then you'll see our local fund match increased by $439,440, and our capital purchase funds decreased by $16,000. This is our system ADM for the past 2 years. You can see the change. We reduced ADM by 26.2 students. Our teacher ADM is reduced by 1.24. We did gain a half of an assistant principal at both middle schools, for a total of negative 0.24. Everything else pretty much remained the same. These are the certified units that we have on each campus the last 3 years, so you can see if they've increased or decreased. And then this is a graph of the classified units that we have. So these did decrease, and that's going to be due to the ESSER funds being gone this year. And then at the bottom, you can see how we pay for those units out of state, federal, or local funds. This is a list of the state funding that we get, all of the grants, most of the grants that we received. As you can see, a few of them decreased. Our at-risk, our career tech, and our state preschool decreased. And then our schools, we have not received a school safety grant. I'm not sure if we'll get that one this year. And then our transportation fleet renewal did not increase this year. Everything else was a little bit higher. Next, we will look at the expenditures. That's the money that we expect to spend this year. This is a graph of where we spend our money. So we spend about 54% of our money on instruction and instructional support, 8% on operations and maintenance, 12% on auxiliary, C&P, and transportation, and then the remaining 26% on administration, capital outlay, and debt service. These are the expected expenditures for the general fund. So about 60% of our general fund will be spent on teachers and everything needed to help them teach, 25% on operations, maintenance, and capital, 4% on administrative, which will include like administrative salaries, fiscal services, information services, legal fees, and consultant fees, and 6% on transportation. The other will include preschool and our extended day programs. And then at the bottom, you'll see that 92% of our budgeted expenditures right now are in salaries and benefits. This slide shows the special revenues we receive. These are federal funds. These include C&P, career technical federal funds, and like special ed and title money. As you can see, a lot of these decreased this year. So we're getting less in Title II, less in Title IV, less in ESSER, less in IDEA and the preschool. And we expect to get less in C&P because we have gone all free lunches and free breakfast. And then the Career Tech Perkins grant reduced a little bit. Special revenue funds include, in this budget, are comprised of federal funds that have specific guidelines and limitations. The local school public funds are also included in this group. This slide is a breakdown of the expenditures for our debt, this is all of the debt that we currently owe. As you can see, we will pay around $1.7 million in principal and interest payments this year. This slide did change from the work set or the first budget hearing. I went back and checked, and we just got another check for PSF, so I added that in here. So we expect to begin this year with around $568,000 in that account. And then when you add the $834,000 that we'll get this year, and subtract the $492,000 that we pay in debt payment out of that money, we should end the year with around $910,000 in that account. For our capital plan, we have two types of funding available. In our PSTA funds, we still have $1.2 million remaining. In our A&T funds from last year, from this year, we'll have $1.705 million remaining. And these are the projects that we expect to complete during this year. We expect to complete both bus shop constructions, the adjustment to the car rider line at Brent Elementary School, a roof on Woodstock, some window upgrades to CMS, some paving, a roof and siding for the alternative school, a renovation on a storage building, and some HVAC repairs and LED lighting throughout every school in the system. And then some painting in the auditorium, etc. At the end of the budget, we have the amount that we can expect to end up with at the end of the year. That's our ending fund balances. For our general fund, we show, these are our ending fund balances. So this is our general fund revenue. This is the money that we get in our general fund that the board's discretion on how they use it. So we get business privilege taxes, county sales tax, ad valorem taxes, and different grants and indirect costs from federal funds. We do project that the sales tax will increase by around $100,000 this year. These are the things that we pay for currently out of the general fund, like things like supplements, computer hardware, software, electricity, fees, insurance, maintenance supplies, general supplies, telephone, water, garbage, things like that we have to pay for out of our general fund. At the end of the year, right now, we expect to end the year with $5.653 million in the general fund, which equates to 1.68 months of operating expenses. I feel like this number is a little bit low. If you'll see, last year we expected to end this year at 1.87. We're currently at around 2.7 months. So I think once we get all of our ending balances for this year and adjust our beginning balances for fiscal year 25, that number will come up. The board welcomes any public input. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them today, and all questions not answered today should be submitted in writing on a form provided at the end of the budget packet.
When you submit the capital improvement plan, and it looks like within our budget, we're gonna do items 1 through 10, what do we do with the remainder? Do we submit the entire capital improvement plan to the state?
Is it 50?
It's around 48
to 50
items, somewhere
things
in
on
there.
there. We submit the whole thing.
And is that their form, or is that something we create?
What y'all got at the work session was just a Google spreadsheet that I created, because the one on the state website, the AIM portal, is where Mr. Downs submits the capital plan to the state, and it does not print well. So that's what y'all got, was just a Google spreadsheet, but it's exactly the same as what he submits to the state on what's called it's Educate Alabama. It's called the AIM portal, that we have to go in and submit. That's where we have our certification, our student data. Again, one I call it an app. Well, icon on there is the capital plan that he has to enter.
Well, the reason I asked is I know we've got some items on there that have been on there probably 15 years. I mean,
yes,
so it's a 5-year plan, but the items, we should be making some decisions or paying some debt down to actually pursue those items. Like, so that was my question, was I wish if it's a form you created, if you could look at, or in adding a column to show when it actually went on the plan.
Yes, ma'am. Now, because it changes each year, like I say, I can tell you what, since I've been here, but I don't know that I could dig up what was,
Well,
because
that's
it changes
something,
on the
Ms.
state website.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, it's something you probably have access to in what we've previously approved on capital plans.
And you could even go on the, the board meetings are public, you could go on there and look at the past, just like the capital plan now is on there, you can go on there yourself and look at however far assembly goes back. Plus, we have the public records from previous.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
back as
I know
well.
that it was prior to you becoming
So.
superintendent, I just wanted to show that, because I've seen people that have seen our 5-year plan, and they're excited, and I'm saying, no, the money doesn't exist for that just because it's on the plan.
Right.
You know, they're thinking that, oh, but y'all are gonna do it in 26, and I'm like, no, we don't have the funds to do it in 26.
It's a plan, and the state asks us to put stuff on there, because they look at that plan when they go to dig, like, give out extra funds, or the capital plan funds. So they would like to see, what's on there, what we might need, but we don't always have the funding for it.
Right.
Any other questions for me? Okay.
Ms. Dodson, do you want to do the prayer?
I can.
Okay. Y'all just let me know, y'all read over, let me know when you're ready.
Just check.
I told him to go.
Okay.
Okay. This meeting is called to order. We'll have the invocation by Ms. Dodson and the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Jones.
Heavenly Father, let us pray. Thank you for the opportunity to assemble here tonight. Thank you for the community that we serve. Please help us to remember to prioritize our children, our employees, our faculty and staff. Help us make decisions that are well pleasing to you. Serve them. Please protect and guide them as the school year continues. Lord, help us do your will. Forgive us where we failed you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please note that Ms. Cheryl Dodson, Mr. Mike McMillan, Mr. Morris Moody, Ms. Elaine Jones, and myself are all present. Approval of agenda. The superintendent recommends approval of the meeting agenda.
I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
What was the addition to the agenda from the work session?
You can see it on the regular agenda down at the bottom.
It's actually regular agenda item A, Ms. Dodson. You see it on the third page?
Camille, actually, all those have been added.
Yeah, all of those have been added, those regular agenda items.
A through G?
Yes, ma'am. Well, the G was not, that was in the work session, but, we have a board member with a relative, so they have to abstain for G. We just, we moved that down. But that was on the consent. And we did add the volunteer coaches. I told you about that in the work session. That is H in the consent, but they passed all their background checks and completed all their coaching qualifications. But like I said, that is the one that I'll let y'all know in the work session that we would have some names for on the volunteer coaches.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
The me is opposed.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. The superintendent recommends the approval of the minutes from August 13th, 2024 board meeting.
Make a motion.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve fiscal year 25 budget as presented on September 5th and September 10th, 2024 by Nicole Elam, CSFO.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve the 2024-2025 capital plan.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Financial report and bank reconciliations. You all received the financials and bank reconciliations for August 2024. Request to approve bills and payroll for August 2024.
I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda items, contracted services, bids, trips, etc. The superintendent recommends the approval of consent agenda items A through M as a block.
Make a motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda items, personnel. The superintendent recommends the approval of consent agenda personnel items A through H as a block.
Make a motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Regular agenda items. The superintendent recommends the approval of the following regular agenda items. Ratify memorandum of understanding between Bibb Medical and Bibb County Board of Education to host the HOSA class on Bibb Medical campus.
I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, I have a question, how we're approving a MOU that I asked for at the previous meeting that had already been executed. At the previous meeting, Superintendent Cotner told me I could have a copy, and you called me to come get it, and then I said, well, where is the executed copy? And you said, I'll sign this one, and I said, well, what date did you sign it? And, you said, I'll look it up. So I would think if you had signed it August 7th, you would remember that because it would have been a few days before me talking to you. So I'm confused why we would adopt something after we've already enacted it without being on the agenda. These students, that we've already taken these measures a month.
If I may on that, we were asked, Ray and I were asked to prepare the MOU, and we're given the terms that you see in the document. We prepared it and sent it back, and I'm gonna take the blame
Oh,
for
that's
this.
fine, but let me ask you this, when were you asked to prepare it?
Probably, I don't remember exactly when it was toward the end of the summer before school started. And I'm gonna take the blame for us not being clear in what the procedure was to have been followed. And that's when I realized where we were on this. I called over and talked to Jamie first today, and then talked to Mr. Cotner, and recommended that it be put on the board for the board to ratify the agreement, and formalize what has been signed and make it legally binding. Like I said, I'm gonna take the blame for it not having been put on last month's agenda.
But prior to that, is not your fault. And so that's my concern, is that you were contacted to draft it months ago, and that's when it should have been on the agenda for us as well. When he's drafting this, that's when it's your job to make us aware that this is being discussed, that we're gonna move students, we're gonna give people access to software, we're gonna transfer, some of our faculty. So I have to believe that this is not, accurate, because, we made personnel decisions at the end of the school year that were preparing for this document. So it looks to me like you're asking us to approve a document after you've, executed it, several months. So that's my frustration with this, is us approving it validates what you've done.
And again, when the MOU, when I received it, as he said, I asked, did this need to go on? And so now, like I say, I asked long before, or the week before school started, does this need to be on the agenda? And, at that point, the answer was no, and now it is yes. He explained that. I will say I'm thankful that we have this partnership because, again, we had to tell a teacher at West Blockton High School and Bibb County High School that, they are no longer needed. So again, I am thankful for Bibb Medical stepping up for this. I discussed this before school was out with Mr. Franklin, and, like I say, that is where we are with it. Again, Mr. Kip, One of our attorneys explained it, and
So he asked you, did he need to put it on the agenda, and you told him no?
At first we did because we understood that no board funds are being expended in this program, and they're not. It also freed up I think it was a half a teacher unit
For
at
each
Bill
high
County
school.
and at West Blockton. And ordinarily, if no board funds are being expended, no, it's not necessary for the board.
So we don't look at transportation costs, we don't look at the elimination of a school nurse, the other costs that have been, so you're saying that there's a savings, which is incorrect, because we've actually created other costs.
no.
No, we have, because I spoke with, someone who was concerned about the Career Academy, and, you know, now we have students that work with heavy equipment, we have students that work with power tools, and we don't have, anyone on site with, healthcare training.
And on that, there was a contract before with that person that it was very clear that she was not a healthcare person. She was a teacher.
That's correct.
And
But when those emergency situations arise, that person is present and in the building. She is not employed as the school nurse. She is employed, because I spoke, and I researched that. So she is employed as a teacher and not as a school nurse. But in a situation like that where, if, you know, I'm not a healthcare provider, but, you know, if I'm trained in CPR, I'm going to use CPR till a healthcare provider arrives. So I wouldn't be the school nurse, but I would act in accordance with that. So that's my thoughts, is that we've got students that now have that, and I don't see the benefit to our students being moved. It's caused the like I said, the additional transportation, and so yeah, that's my question, is in hindsight, this is also, to me, taking a step forward on the capital grant that we've still not had on the agenda. So are you gonna present that after the fact?
There is nothing for the board to consider on that. What you have is the state has given a grant to the board that is conditioned on the board matching it. Bid Medical is putting together a proposal to donate the funds to match it. Anybody can do that. Anybody that wants to say, hey, here's 400 grand, here's my proposal. Once that proposal is finished, it will be presented to the board. And the board will vote to either accept it or decline it. If somebody else comes in and says, here's our proposal, and you have competing proposals, the board can decide to accept proposal A, proposal B, or neither. And that'll be up to these five to decide.
Right, and that's my question, because at the last meeting, I asked for a copy of this grant application, and this grant, this capital grant payment information is actually dated October of 23, so next month it will be 1 year old, and it says that, would you categorize your grant request? And it says capital projects that enhance the educational environment of students. So, and then it says provide a detailed description of the purpose of the grant funds. These funds are sought to build the physical facility to house a healthcare academy to expose and train high school students in a healthcare career pathway. A career pathway, so I just want to point that out, because it's to fill local in-demand jobs. So that was my point, is that pathway should be located at the Career Academy. And when I asked for the drawings and where we were on that, you said again that you would get them to me, but the following day I actually got them texted to me from Shelton State. So what I was frustrated with as a Bibb County Board of Education member, that Shelton State had these drawings and they were showing it in their PowerPoint and saying, here's the future Bibb County Healthcare Academy, without the Board of Education knowing what this looked like. I would have to think that the majority of us, if not, I would think some have looked at these drawings, but But my point is this, is we're really going forward with that, and so in light of what you said, they are doing our matching portion, so it's 4 million and then the 3 million from the Shelton State grant. But that doesn't mean our students have to move. We have trained them in healthcare, and then they can do their internships, their co-op, everything, on site at our healthcare, and our career academy, because we're weakening it by moving the location. And I feel by approving an MOU that's probably been in the works at least 90 to 120 days, just makes this to where you're backing us into a corner, with that grant, and still, we are the controlling interest. We are the $4 million grant recipient, the Board of Education, and no one else.
The current MOU that's before the board tonight and the program now has nothing whatsoever to do with the $4 million grant and where it's used, how it's used, if it's used.
So you think that this isn't a strategic move to go ahead and move our students and have them already there, and then say now we're gonna build a $4 million facility, or $7 million?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think
well then
it's
I want
just
that to
for
be
this
clear, that if we enter into this MOU, that that is not, making sure that we have chosen the site for this grant location.
No, it has nothing to do. In fact, if you look under the duration, either Bill Medical or the board can terminate it at any time with 60 days written notice.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I recuse. Request to approve the following teams contract, preliminary contract, 2024-2025 school year. Alan Ray, Math, West Blockton Middle School.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve the following for 21st Century Cast, Brent Elementary School, student assistant, Isaac Goodson, Chloe Poole, Kamaya Johnson, Juan Lucero.
I make that motion.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve maternity leave for Katie Whitman, teacher, Brent Elementary School, from August 22nd, 2024 to January 6th, 2025. The superintendent has approved family medical leave for up to 12 weeks.
I make a motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment to Mary Beth Toxey to provide music instruction, 2024-2025 school year, Brent Elementary School, payment of $161 per day, 1 day per week, will be made from BES local school funds.
I make a motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve payment to TJ Phelps to provide substitute music instruction, 2024-2025 school year, Brent Elementary School, payment of $161 per day, 1 day per week, as needed, will be made from BES local school funds.
I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Request to approve the following substitutes. Kelly McMillan, classroom substitute. Haley Grammer, classroom substitute. Lindsay Stallings, nurse substitute. Shaylin Gamble, nurse substitute. Mary Rochelle Forsythe, CNP, custodian substitute. Robbie Anna Dearman, classroom CNP, custodian substitute.
What is the direct relationship on whether I need to abstain? One of the substitutes is my, first cousin's daughter. I mean, so not in my direct. Do I need to abstain?
First cousin's daughter,
Yeah.
that's probably far enough that it won't be necessary to abstain. Quite frankly, if there's enough votes that are yes,
Okay.
if you feel more comfortable abstaining, please feel free to do so.
Well, it's kind of, when there's 6 people there, I don't see that it's not like you're singling out someone.
Right.
All in favor?
I didn't get a motion.
Oh, sorry, motion. So we got the discussion.
I'll make the motion.
The discussion before the motion and second.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I'll make the
Ne-
motion.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
We got 3 yeses?
yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and.
Are you abstaining?
Okay, got it.
Ms. Dodson and Mr. McMillan are abstaining. Information items, board work session / ASIP, Thursday, October 3rd, 2024 at 1 p.m. Board meeting Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Superintendent remarks.
We're 4.5 weeks in, progress reports went home, football started up. We are being weather aware, we are monitoring that for Thursday. We're praying that it doesn't get too rough, but we are asking people to pay attention to that, and just prepare if it comes for that call. But we met with EMA today about that. Again, we're thankful again for the partnership with the police departments, and stepping up, providing protection for our school system in today's time. I think that's very important to do. And once again, thank you, Ms. Elam, for the great budget presentation there. And that's all.
Request to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.